Alright, so another question that I normally get asked about working the trains is, what's the work like? Is it hard work? Is it difficult? Is it complicated? Is it heavy work? So let me explain. And yeah, it can be heavy, hard work and complex as well. Yeah, but the thing is, your body does get used to it after a while. When you're doing that, this sort of work daily, after a while your body gets used to it. And also, it can depend on what team you're working with, what team you're in. Well, actually, on trains they don't call it team. They call it a gang. That's what they call it, a gang. So that's a common phrase, especially where I work. They call it a gang. Common phrase for a team, a gang. It all basically depends on where you work. For example, where I work, they got 3 sheds. They got like a shed where they do the heavy maintenance, the heavy overhauls. That's where I work. They got another shed where they do like inspections, like an MOT in the car, and light maintenance, and daily checks, like checking oil levels and stuff like that, and diagnostics. And they got another shed, which they call the cleaning shed, where obviously that's where they clean the trains. Like I work in the heavy overhaul workshop. For example, the shed where they do the daily checks, everyday checks, like an MOT. For example, if they find a problem with a wheel, or they find a problem with the electric motor, or issue with the diesel engine, that workshop won't do that job. Their job is just to check. If they find a problem, report it, then it'll come to our workshop. And our workshop, that's our job, to change those components. If they find a component that's faulty, that's how it works on trains. You have like sort of a team, multiple teams that will do like everyday maintenance, everyday checks. Then you have like another team that does like the heavy overhauls, the heavy component changes. And also you'll have a team that does the heavy overhauls. So what it is, a train. Trains are not like cars. Because on a car you sort of wait for something to break and then you change it, but trains is not like that. On trains, everything has got an expiry date. Or if it hasn't got an expiry date, it's got like a certain amount of mileage that it can do, then after that it's got to be changed. So of course, working the trains, it's going to be dirty. That's the question I get asked as well. Is it dirty? Yeah, you are going to get dirty. Some jobs you're going to get dirtier than other sort of jobs. Because if you're working the team that doing inspections, that's sort of, I wouldn't say it's clean, but it's clean compared to if you're working in the team where you're doing the heavy overhauls and big component changes. So yeah, you can't join there expecting just to do clean work. It's not going to happen. Because things are always changing here, you know. You might get sent on the clean job. You might end up doing the clean job for a year or two. Then after that, you know, it could change, and they might put you on something really dirty. So you gotta be a person that's versatile if you want to come work on trains. You can't just expect to do clean, tidy work. It's not gonna happen. So that's what I was saying. Everything has an expiry date, more or less, on a train. So over time, certain components are due to be changed. But they won't just change one component, they'll change like quite a few. Because normally there's quite a few that have to be changed at a certain point. And they've got different overhauls for different things. For example, they've got one overhaul where they change the air compressor, the air dryer, the toilet, all the control valves that operate the air systems. That's one overhaul. They got another overhaul where they change all the air conditioning units. What else they change? They change all the air tanks. They change the bogies. So you have got different overhauls. And normally those overhauls will last about a week. About a week. The trim will come into the workshop and it'll take about a week to complete. So the components we replace on these overhauls, most of the time there's nothing even wrong with these components, but that's just the law, they have to be changed. Yeah, so they'd have to be replaced. So we're with the old ones get sent back to the manufacturer to be overhauled. So yeah, it's hard, it's heavy work. Like when I first started working there, I remember like my body used to hurt, you know, it used to hurt because especially when you're doing like heavy overhauls, you'll find most of the time your hands just up in the air all day. And if your body's not used to it, and of course, no, you're gonna get aches and pains. But after a while, your body gets used to it. Your body does get used to it after a while. But yeah, when I first started there, flipping out, my body used to ache. But yeah, your muscles get used to the work after a while. And to answer the question, is it complex? Yeah, some things can be complex, but the thing is, when you're doing certain tasks, you might do them like every single week. It could be for a year. So of course, if you're doing these tasks over and over again, those jobs, they become easy because you find out little techniques and how to make your life easier. So if you're doing that same task over and over again, you will, after a while, you will find it easy because you get used to it. It sort of stays in your head. The method on how to do that job. Now the ones that work in the gangs doing the inspection, like even though they're class engineers, they do spend a lot of their time cleaning. That's actually a big part of the job when you're doing inspections. You have to clean because if certain components are dirty, the dirt can build up over time, attract heat, and that heat can turn into a fire. So yeah, cleaning is actually a big part of the job. They have to clean a lot of things. That's one thing about trains. You don't want dirt build up on certain things because it can build up, cause excessive heat, and catch fire. And the ones that are doing the inspections, they spend a lot of time underneath the train looking for like shiny parts, shiny metal. Because if you got a component, for example, that is completely dirty, but you got a shiny bit on it, obviously something's loose. It's like a technique they use. Obviously something's loose or something's rubbing. If you got a component that's dirty, but you got a shiny bit on it. So look for things like that to make sure nothing's come loose. And plus they do a lot of testing as well. They test out all the driver controls, make sure the driver controls are working. All the health and safety systems are also working in the driver's cab and other bits and pieces inside the train as well. And they test the lights and stuff, make sure the lights are working, the air conditioning is working. Yeah, so their job, the ones doing inspections, is a lot different to the heavy overhauls like what I do. It can be it's a very different sort of job. So yeah, there's all depends on where you work really, you know, working on trains. You've got different teams that do different things. Then you got then you have another team that'll do modifications. Just like the trains that I work on, they've got a team at the moment doing some mods. They're fitting USB plug sockets by every single seat, and they're fitting like LCD display for that customer information as well. So yeah, you got that as well. You got different teams that do various jobs. Yeah, to work on trains, you have to be a person that doesn't mind change. It's like I said, things can just change just like that. For example, like when I first started there, I was doing a lot of dirty work in the pit. underneath the train, changing all the air tanks and changing a lot of other big heavy components, a lot of heavy hard work. I was doing that for a couple of years, and I got taken off that, and I got put onto the door overhaul. I was working with a team overhauling all the doors, and working on the doors is clean work. It is very clean work compared to working beneath the train, because you're actually inside the train itself, and the door mechanisms is not really that. Your hands do get dirty, but your whole body, your whole clothes don't get dirty, if you know what I mean. And I did that for a couple of years. Yeah, and even though it's not as heavy as working beneath the train, working on the doors, it was very sort of complex, because you had to think about what you was doing. Because like, for example, you could adjust one thing, then adjust something else, then when you close the door don't close properly. So you gotta think about what you do and adjust this, adjust that, until the door closes right. So yeah, that job was it was clean, but mentally you had to really think about what you was doing. Yeah, so the jobs can vary, you know, and you gotta be versatile as well. Yeah, I keep saying this, you have to be versatile, you know. Just like when I was working on the door overhaul, there were some people that just started the company here, and they got put on the overhaul, working the doors, and those people, they sort of got used to that. But I sort of told them, I was warning them, you know, this is easy work compared to, like, you know, the other work that is going on in the workshop. And I told them, don't get too used to doing this work, because things can just change just like that, you know. But the overhaul's now stopped, and some of them, yeah, it was a big shock to them, being put beneath the train, doing all the big heavy work. And I said that, so I said to them, see, I told you, you have to be prepared for change. You can't just allow yourself just to get used to things, because things can just change like that. They can move you around and put you on different teams. So you have to be a person that can cope with change. You can't expect just to stay on just one particular job forever. It doesn't work like that on trains.